Hello. So this is Hosanna Emily, and as the next part of our Project Love series, I'm going to talk about the topic of loving neighbors. So at least 4 times throughout the Bible, the words love your neighbor as yourself comes up. And that's been interpreted so many different ways. You should love your neighbor, but it also means to love everyone and to love those who are hurt and those who need us. As you see in the parable of the Good Samaritan, loving your neighbors isn't just loving the people around you, right? It's loving everyone around us, even people who aren't technically our neighbors. But I do think it's really important to remember that we are supposed to love our real neighbors. The people that live right across the street. It's important to love all of them. So I'm going to jump in and list a few different ways on how we can build relationships with our neighbors and develop friendships and things like that. But first I wanted to share a verse from Romans 13. It lists the different commandments. You shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness, you shall not covet. And it says, if there is any other commandment, all are summed up in this saying, namely, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no harm to a neighbor, therefore love is the fulfillment of the law. So the 10 Commandments lists many different commandments, many different things that we need to do, need to not do. But pretty much all of them are summed up in love your neighbor as yourself and love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your strength. So let's focus in on loving our neighbors because it says that love is the fulfillment of the law. So these are 5 different ways that we can grow in our relationship with our neighbors. And I'll try to share a few things from personal experience that we've had to deal with. So as you probably remember, we moved here to our new house last December. So where we used to live, we only had saved neighbors. They were all homeschool families. We were all best friends. We would play volleyball, play tag, hide and seek like every single day if we can. And it was a lot of fun, but we never really got to experience what it was like to have unsaved neighbors, to have people on our street who we didn't know. So this has been a really big change because ever since moving here, we're surrounded by people, and many of them are not saved. So they don't act like Christians, which shouldn't be surprising. But we've learned a lot through that. So these are some of the things that I've learned just in these past 6 or 7 months. So number 1 is get to know your neighbors. Did you know that some people don't know who their neighbors are? It's so weird. People will live right next door and not even know who those people are. They won't know even their names. So for an example, one lady who lives right next to us, no one really on our street knows who she is. They might know her name, and they mowed her lawn when they were little. But she keeps herself isolated from everyone else, so no one takes the initiative to actually get to know her, which is really weird because she lives right next door. Like, I could throw a frisbee and hit her house if I wanted to. So if someone lives like that, why would we not know who they are? We need to get out there, get to know people's names, get to know who they are, and just start building friendships. Number 2, try to be friendly. So this might mean just waving when you see someone in their front yard, or smiling at people. I also like sometimes our family goes on a walk down the road and we actually get to see people and they come out of their houses and we get to talk and meet them, and that's a great way to get to know our neighbors. If you have gardens, you can bring over produce just randomly and tell them we wanted to bless them, and as God has been blessing us through our gardens. If you like cooking, just bake some cookies and bring them over. Bring something, just get to know people, be friendly, be sociable. Number 3 is forgive, because we've had so many opportunities to forgive our neighbors. You're going to have to forgive them because they don't always do things right. We've had so many reasons to forgive our neighbors, and it hasn't been fun, and it's been really hard, but we need to show them forgiveness because I don't remember where it was, but in the Bible it's somewhere it says that because God has loved us so much, He's forgiven us for so much, but we need to be doing that the same to other people. So forgiveness is absolutely key, and if you cannot forgive your neighbors, you cannot love them, you cannot build relationships. Number 4, so we talked about this last week, but be hospitable. So, if you have started to make relationships, now is a chance where you can actually invite people into your homes, get to know them, start learning who they are, what's their stories, what are they like, what do they like and don't like. We've been able to have 2 of our neighbors' families over for a meal, and it's been really great. We've been able to get to know them, see more than just, their house and wave at them. We've actually been able to have good talks, and it's been really good. We've also been able to learn a lot about our neighbors through them telling us about our neighbors. But also, we had one neighbor who we invited over, and they told us that they've lived here somewhere between 20 and 30, 40 years, and they've never had anyone invite them over for dinner. You know how sad that is? We need to be out there being loving people and wanting them, welcoming them into our home, and accepting them and loving them just the way they are. So let's be hospitable. And number 5. So have patience, just keep loving and keep praying for these people. Sometimes it feels like nothing is happening, but God puts you on your road for a reason. He put your neighbors there for a reason, and no one can reach them the way you can. I can't reach your neighbors. I don't know if you're living in Texas or Virginia or Washington State, but you're the only one that can reach those people that God's put there. So reach out and do it. And I know it can feel like you're fighting a losing battle. It can feel like, our road is a litter magnet. So if we go and clean up all the litter, the next day there'll be more there. The next month it'll be crowded again. So it's like a losing battle, but we have to keep fighting. We have to keep going with our bags, pick up the garbage, and keep fighting for love and for loving people the way that God intended. And this is my last thing I want to mention, but many of you, this isn't really a possibility for some of you. But it really helps to build a relationship with your neighbors if you have animals. So one neighbor comes over and will give our dogs bones, like these huge bones, and another neighbor will come and drop off little doggy biscuits for them. So they fall in love with our animals, which helps us to get to know them and kind of has a bond there. So if you can't have a dog, get a goat or something. And I think that actually really helps. But I do understand many of you live in the city and can't do that, but I want to include that. So let's get out and love our neighbors. Let's make a difference and live lives that count. We live right next to these people, so let's not let our lives go by and not know them. Let's get to know them, have patience, forgive, be hospitable, be friendly, and let's make a difference and love our neighbors as ourselves, as the Bible says. So I'm excited to see how you all do that. I'd love to hear who God has placed near your homes, and how you're going to step out and reach them. So keep going and keep loving.